Okay, the October 23rd, 2023 meeting of the Oconee County Board of Zoning Appeals will now come to order. The first item on the agenda is the approval of minutes of 9/25, 2023. Do we have a motion to accept?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Do we have any discussion or corrections? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay,
Ms. Fowler, was that an abstention?
I wasn't here.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, we'll have a brief statement of rules and procedures. The applicant will provide a presentation about the needs of the variance for 5 minutes, and we have the opportunity to extend that if you actually need more time. The staff will address any additional issues, and there could be a citizen comment period. However, I don't think there are any citizens that are going to show up. And then there would be applicant rebuttal and questions from the board, and then we would do our deliberations, and then we would start our voting. So that's the way that we conduct our meetings. Now, the first item on the agenda is a variance application, VA 23000015. Carson Barkwa of St. Clair Signs is requesting a 43 square foot variance for signage area and an 8-foot variance for sign height. TMS number is 20700-01-237, 1503 Blue Ridge Boulevard, Seneca, South Carolina, 29672. Would the applicant please come forward and...
Yes. My name is Kevin Fryer. I'm actually with the Kent Companies out of Midland, Texas. We're the owners of the Bountyland stores here in South Carolina.
Okay.
Appreciate you allowing us to be here today to talk about this. Basically, for each one of these properties that are going to come before the board tonight, it's the same variance request. It's an additional height, an additional square footage. And what that's doing is we're rebranding the stores from Exxon to Texaco. Texaco has a brand new image. So what you'll see in these drawings are actually, there's only one store currently. It's near Austin, Texas, I believe, that's been outfitted with the new Texaco image. So what we're trying to do is work with Texaco to roll out this new image, and this is their first cluster of multiple stores that they want to put the Texaco image on. In doing so, the Exxon image is, this store particularly has a monument sign. You'll see in some of the other stores they have a 2-pole sign. Chevron Texaco does a single center pole with cabinets, attached to it, flagged to the street. So, if the street's here, it's going to be perpendicular to that. I think for this one in particular, it's looking for an 8-foot overall height variance because, again, the size of the sign, that's the height that Texaco has determined is what they want to see, for visibility, for everything. Bountyland, our stores in Texas are called Kent Quick. But here, when we purchased the Bountyland stores, they have, a good presence in the market, whatever, so we wanted to maintain the Bountyland name. A lot of convenience stores don't advertise a name. A lot of times you'll just see food store or, Stop and Shop, something, but it's not really a branded element. Well, Bountyland is more of a branded element. It has its own identity outside of the fuel brand. So again, what we're trying to do here is, work with Texaco, get their brand up there, but we also want to keep the Bountyland name as a branded element. So you'll see on the sign what they call the forecourt, which is the street, closest to the street is going to be the Texaco imaging, and then the back court, so more towards the store is the Bountyland. And to get all of that and the height and whatever, that's why we need the variance for the square footage and the additional height. This particular store, and Kendall, help me out. Kendall Robinson's with me. He's with Print Signs. He's the sign company in Texas that's doing the sign work. we have the local St. Clair is gonna help us with the local installation. They're out of Greenville. But this one in particular, an additional consideration is the fact that this is a monument sign, it gets obstructed by traffic. You know, on this road, it's a 4-lane road, and, you know, when the traffic backs up at that light, the sign basically becomes non-existent. You can't see it. So that's why we also want to go to that pole sign, just to get the imagery and the pricing higher where the traffic can see it. And again, I don't want to go out of turn here, so do we want to talk about each location and then move on to the next one?
All right, normally we do one at a
Okay.
time. But we may,
Okay.
uh,
I say they all share a commonality in the
Yeah.
sense that we're asking for the same thing for each one. They all have, you know, little nuances based on the location, but for the most part, we're asking for the same.
4 out of 5
Various.
are 4 out of 5 are that same setup. Only one of them is another monument.
Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion that we deal with all of them together.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second that.
Okay, do we have any discussion?
I think we should deal with them individually. They're all spread around the county, and they're different locations where they are. Some of them are in heavily signed areas, and some of them are not. But
Anybody else care to comment? All in favor of the motion? Okay, motion carries. Oh, no,
That was
no, it
three.
doesn't, huh?
I counted 3, so that's
Three.
3 would be you wanna call for dissenting votes, and we'll confirm
Opposed?
3 opposed?
Yeah.
No, I oppose.
Are you in favor?
No, oppose.
I'm opposed too.
Okay.
I'm opposed
So that
also.
motion will fail.
So with that,
The motion fails.
motion fails, so we'll continue each one and
Individually? Okay.
Sorry.
at some point we may.
Oh, no, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, I really don't have anything else to add on this location specifically. So if there's any questions, I can try and answer that.
Do you have any graphs or signs or anything that shows the sign in relation to the building or in relation to the traffic pattern here, so we can see if it's gonna clean anything up or if we're still gonna be hunting the sign for the gas
Well, I
stations?
think you're past,
No, it's a little bit further
So
down.
it should be the
is
last.
it?
So here's the
Okay.
monument sign.
Okay,
We'll be putting it in the same location as the current monument sign. That way we're not tearing up any more grass or removing any kind of vegetation. With that as well, with the King companies, knowing how they operate, if that sign is lifted up off the ground, they will be covering that location in, plants and garden, make it look pretty. So,
so we don't have to worry about what's underneath the sign? You're not gonna be digging a hole and digging up water lines and gas lines and,
Well, there will be a new hole, foundation drilled there to support the sign. But, you know, we call the 811 to make sure all utilities are marked. And all of this stuff should be well inside the property line, so it should be outside of any utility.
so you're gonna
easement
meet
or
the
something.
setbacks?
Yes,
Okay,
they'll meet all setbacks, and we are working with 811 and a private utility locator on all of them. So there will be no chance of hitting anything underneath.
And that's across the street from CVS has got a high sign, and then on
Yes,
the
sir.
Yes, sir. CVS is across
the
the street,
other,
approximately 25.
little shopping center over there's got an elevated sign up too, right?
yeah, there's one on the, I guess if that's the correct direction, on the south,
Gas station.
Where Porterview out of Porto.
yeah, there's a taller sign on the southeast side and then also on the north, or no, the southwest side and the.
There's no monument sign, there's not a monument signs all in there. That's
Right.
kind of the only monument sign in that.
So help me with the height. Are all these heights the same on all these for consistency? Is that why they're
Yes,
the
sir.
same height?
Yes, yeah, that's the Texaco brand image is that height.
Okay.
And that's on 4 out of the 5. The fifth one on Cherry Road is the one that has the regular,
Yeah, that'll maintain the monument,
Yes, sir, the monument.
yes.
okay, do we have any input from staff?
So, variance request required, the maximum height of these signs is typically 20 foot, the maximum square footage is typically 75, so it is over on both of those, which is fine.
Why do you need to go to the 28 feet versus the 20 that's in the ordinance?
Well, the first reason
When
is.
you're going from basically something that's down at ground level, I mean,
Right.
going up the full 20 feet would be a major improvement over what, and everybody could see your sign, and you're in a fairly, particularly in this one in Bountyland, you're in a fairly built-up area.
Again, the brand standard for Texaco is the 28 feet, but in addition, if you only went to 20, then that Pricer cabinet is gonna obviously drop down 8 feet and potentially could be a line of sight issue. And that's what I was gonna say, is actually that monument, the way it sits, is also, it impedes vision, for traffic, because it's basically the height of a vehicle right at the intersection there, whereas lifting those signs up gets you, greater visibility through there, because that's a 16-inch steel pole there, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Do we have any additional questions from the board?
Nope.
If we don't, then let's, you can take your seat now. We'll
Okay.
further deliberation, and we'll get on with the next one after this. Okay. There's no- We have no members of the public here tonight, so there's no comments from the citizenry. And I think we can get in then to our questions on the first item. There are extraordinary and exceptional conditions pertaining to the particular piece of property. Do we have a motion in the affirmative?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, do we have any discussion? Okay.
Well, I guess really the only extraordinary condition is the Texaco branding.
Yeah.
It seems like that's the thing that's really driving it. Other than that, there's nothing special about the request to get a variance that I can understand.
Okay.
What do you guys think?
Anybody have any further thoughts on that?
No.
Okay, all in favor of the motion? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None opposed, okay. These conditions do not generally apply to other property in the vicinity. May we have a motion in the affirmative?
I so move.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Do we have any discussion on this item? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? No opposed. Because of these conditions, the application of this chapter to the particular piece of property would effectively prohibit or unreasonably restrict the utilization of the property. May we have a motion in the affirmative?
So moved.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? You have any discussion? With no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Nobody's opposed, okay? The authorization of a variance will not be a substantial detriment to the adjacent uses or to the public good, and the character of the district will not be harmed by the granting of the variance. We have a motion in the affirmative.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? No discussion? All in favor? Opposed? There's nobody opposed, okay? Based on the evidence presented to the board, do I hear a motion that the proposed variance be approved, or do we have a motion in the affirmative?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Okay, do we have any discussion? No? All in favor? Okay, now we have three other cases that are identical to this. Do you want to have further discussion from the applicant, or do you want to, or would the board prefer
The
to
others are
move
not,
forward?
the others are not monument.
No,
right? There's only one more monument.
Yeah, and that'd be the last we could take care of the three, there's what,
So the
three
three you're
more, there's
referring
three
to-
more that are identical to this one, and then there's one that's a monument.
So
We
we're
got
some
talking
on.
5, 6, and 8.
So what we could do, if you want, is to go through the questions for the next three. We can make them, just make a motion to get it onto the table, and then we could move directly to the questions if the board would like to do that.
Right, and just group the three together as one variance request.
And the three we're
Is it
talking
possible for
about,
us to do that? Can we group?
So you just need to do a motion to amend your agenda to combine, it'd be items
5, 6, and 7.
5, 6, and 8.
Yeah. Okay,
And then if you wanna do that, I would prefer if you looked at the locations for each of them
Yeah.
while you're discussing it, but you can discuss all three of them at the same time.
okay.
If you make the motion and the motion passes, but just so you're looking at each location.
So they would be, which items now?
5,
7 and 8.
6, and 8.
5, 6.
5, 6, and 8. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, then we have, do we have a motion that would combine 5, 6, items 5, 6, and 8, and to take care of, and dispose of those as one item?
Same
We have
variance, there's the
motion.
same variance for all.
Hmm?
They're asking for the same thing
Yeah.
for all three of those. I move that.
Okay,
Do that.
Second.
second. Okay, any discussion on the motion? With no discussion, all in favor?
Who was the second? I'm sorry.
Second was,
Thank you, sir.
okay.
so we're amending the agenda, this one, right?
Yes,
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
To combine items 5, 6, and 8, and so that we can dispose of those in one. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay, motion carries. So, since they're all the same, then let us go through, can we refer to them as items rather than locations? Or,
Yes. Yes.
We need to look at each one though, right?
Yeah, right,
Can you bring up the overhead of number 5?
Yes.
okay, then we will now then proceed with the,
And I'll bring up our map too for you in just a second.
Okay, and the sign is the one that's labeled A,
Yes, ma'am.
okay.
That's over next to TriStar, right?
Yeah.
Near the new
Yeah.
Family Dollar or whatever was on
That's
there.
across the street, yeah.
3 is 5. Okay, what we're going to do now is we'll combine, I'll read the various variance applications into one item. Item 5, the variance application VA 23000016, Carson Barklaw of St. Clair Signs is requesting a 43 square foot variance for signage area and an 8-foot variance for sign height, TMS 25300-10-004, 12099 Wells Highway, Seneca, South Carolina. We also have variance application VA 23000017, Carson Barklaw of St. Clair Signs is requesting a 43-foot variance for signage area and an 8-foot variance for sign height. TMS number is 241-00-02-010, and the address is 10941 Clemson Boulevard, Seneca, South Carolina, 29678. And item 8, which we're combining with 5 and 6, is variance application VA 23000022. Carson Barclaw of St. Clair Signs is requesting a 43-foot variance for signage area and an 8-foot variance for sign height. TMS 330-00-01-017. The address is 16096 South Highway 11, Fairplay, South Carolina, 29643. Now, are there any additional questions that the board would like to ask of the applicants before we proceed with, okay, are there any
I guess
discussion?
the only thing that, just for verification, it is true that you're asking for the same thing for these 3 additional variances as you did in the one we've already approved. There's nothing different that we just aren't seeing.
Yes, sir. No, and these are actually a little bit easier to describe if you, can you show the picture of the existing signage? Okay, these have larger signs already that are grandfathered in, that's my understanding. They don't meet the current size, is that the correct
Yeah,
statement?
so, and do you mind if I just interject?
Yes.
Okay, so with the sign ordinance the way it is, they can replace it with the same square footage and the same height without a variance. So if they wanna do the same square footage at 25 feet, they could do that without a variance, by right.
Yeah, and the only issue here is we have a little bit more square footage that we'd like to have, and then obviously going up 3 additional feet here. I think you'll kind of look and see that the kind of dilapidated sign that we'll be replacing, is gonna be, that there's gonna be a nice new pretty sign that is actually less bulky, even though it has a little more square footage, visually, it's a cleaner looking sign. The single pole versus the double pole. And that's the case at each one of these next 3 locations. I think the one on, let's see, the one on US 76 has even more square footage than this one. I don't know if we can show, we are talking about all 3 at the same time, right? Can we show them that one?
Go in order, so we'll do 6 next.
Okay. I think this one, yeah, so this one is even a little bit, I think, larger. Is that the one? Yeah, that's the one
Yeah,
I'm
that's
talking
the one
about.
you're on.
Yeah, so this one's even larger than the one we just saw.
Yeah.
And then the other one, I think, is probably more similar to the first one. But in all the cases, we're really not adding much additional signage to what's currently there. And I think personally, ultimately, it's gonna be a better looking sign, to replace the old.
So you're streamlining it.
Yes, ma'am. And the digits will be new and, bright and nice, whereas the old ones,
Half burnt out.
yeah, have burned out pieces in them and whatever, so yeah, it'll be nice and clean.
Do we have any further questions from the board?
Show us the last one, please.
So that one we just looked at, is out on, 123, right?
Yeah, that's the one next to Jacob's Access, or used to
Yeah.
be Jacob's Access.
This is the one on on the way to Clemson.
Okay.
Out by the,
Right there.
And I apologize if I'm calling them by different roads. I don't know what you call them locally, so yeah.
I'd like to make a comment about this.
Yes.
I go by that area all the time, and I really support what they're wanting to do, because that area's got a big electronic billboard sitting there. Deep South Defense has a large sign, so actually the service station sign gets lost, because when I went by there today, I was looking for it. So this one I can actually really support.
very good. Any questions with regard to that item?
And then the
If
last one.
not, then let us proceed with our questions.
We're gonna go to number 8.
Do we,
So this is the.
Eight, we didn't combine eight with.
Yes, we
need
did.
Yeah,
5,
we-
6, and 8.
5, 6, and 8.
Oh, eight, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And this is the one by the recycling center, right?
That's on Highway 11 and Fairplay, yeah.
Okay.
This is the existing sign, the 23.9. The location, we'll go with that.
Yeah, I want to see where it is in relation to the road.
It's right on 11.
This one's actually gonna move, and Kendall, I can let you talk to that one, where the new placement's gonna be.
Get close to the highway, doesn't it?
The existing sign is currently outside the property line.
Oh.
I don't, so
So you can-
we will, go
You
ahead.
you can kinda see it here, and again, apologies for sins of the past, but we've owned, these stores for about a year and a half, so it happened before us, but, you can see the line cuts back right here, the sign's actually here, so it's in a right of way, I would assume, so we're actually gonna take the sign, and it really hurts us, cause, obviously your main flow of traffic is here, the sign's gonna end up back here.
Oh, wow.
So it's actually, I don't know, I'm on the fence about if it's even worth having the sign, but, we wanna have the sign, so right now it's scheduled to come,
Where A is.
oh, sorry, yeah, right here. I'm tall, so my arm goes up further.
You're right, you're gonna have a hard time seeing that coming up the road.
Yeah, so,
Up 11, yeah.
but, there's not too many fuel stations you see without price advertised, for the public, so we wanna make sure we have something there.
Okay, have anything else? If not, then, if you. Okay, I think we've
Okay.
exhausted that subject. I think we can start to proceed with our
Okay.
deliberations here.
Thank you.
Okay. Regarding the three pieces of property that we just discussed, there are extraordinary and exceptional conditions pertaining to the particular piece of property. We have a motion in the affirmative.
So move.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, do we have any discussion? With no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Second item, these conditions do not generally apply to other property in the vicinity. Do we have a motion in the affirmative?
So move.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, do we have any discussion? No discussion? All in favor? Three. Because of these conditions, the application of this chapter to the particular piece of property would effectively prohibit or unreasonably restrict the utilization of the property. Do we have a motion in the affirmative?
I so move.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? No discussion? All in favor?
Unanimous?
The authorization of a variance will not be of substantial detriment to adjacent uses or to the public good, and the character of the district will not be harmed by the granting of the variance. Do we have a motion in the affirmative?
So move.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? No discussion? All in favor?
Unanimous?
Okay, based on the evidence presented to the board, do I hear a motion that the proposed variance be approved?
So move.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? With no discussion, all in favor?
Unanimous?
Motion carries, and that, those have been, okay, we've taken care of, 4 items now. Now we've got to move to the 5th one, which is
Number 7.
number 7.
Only difference is it's going to be a
Okay.
monument.
Okay, item number 7, the variance application VA 23-000020. Carson Barklaw of St. Clair Signs is requesting a 23 square foot variance for signage area and an 8-foot variance for sign height. The TMS number is 271-01-01- 157, and the address is 228 West Cherry Road, Seneca, South Carolina, 29678. Do we, the applicants want to give us?
Yes, the only thing here is I heard the height, I don't think there's a height variance.
This
for this
has
one.
changed, so this is actually not gonna be a height variance anymore.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, that 8 feet.
And then the square footage is actually gonna be 39 instead of 43.
Okay, you say that the sign is going to be how many square feet?
The variance request for the square footage will be 39 feet as opposed to the 43, and there is no longer a request for a height variance.
Okay, then, do we have a motion to amend, to amend the sign footage to 39 feet and to delete the 8-foot variance for the sign height? Do we have-
Make the motion.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Do we have any discussion? No discussion, all in favor of the motion? Okay,
Unanimous?
so with the, then, the variance application, VA 23-000020, Carson Barklaw of St. Clair Signs is requesting a 39-foot square variance for signage area. The TMS is 271-01-01-157. The address is 228 West Cherry Road, Seneca, South Carolina. And that is the motion that we're dealing with at the present time.
Yes, and as you can see, this one is essentially the same sign, just reworked for the Texaco
Yep.
brand image.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, do we have any questions? No?
Looks fine.
Okay.
Okay. Let's start with our questions. There are extraordinary and exceptional conditions pertaining to the particular piece of property. Do we have a motion in the affirmative?
So moved.
Do we have a second? Second. Do we have a second?
Yeah.
Okay. Do we have any discussion? With no discussion, all in favor?
All right.
These conditions do not generally apply to other property in the vicinity. Do we have a motion in the affirmative?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Do we have any discussion on this? No discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Because of these conditions, the application of this chapter to the particular piece of property would effectively prohibit or unreasonably restrict the utilization of the property. Do we have a motion in the affirmative?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Do we have any discussion? With no discussion, all in favor? Okay. Based on the evidence presented to the board, do I hear a motion that the proposed variance be approved?
So moved.
Second. Second. Okay, do we have any discussion? No discussion, all in favor? All right.
It's unanimous? You
Motion.
skipped one of your, that was only 4.
Huh?
That was only 4, you skipped one of your.
Which one did I,
Number 4,
huh? Authorization variance?
number 4, I think.
Based, okay.
Authorization variance, I
Proposed
think.
variance be approved, denied. Authorization variance. Oh, okay, item D, the authorization of a variance will not be a substantial detriment to adjacent uses or to the public good, and the character of the district will not be harmed by the granting of this variance. Do we have a motion in the affirmative?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Okay, then we'll go back and I'll redo the last item. Based on the evidence presented to the board, do I hear a motion that the proposed variance be approved?
So moved.
Okay, second?
Second.
Well, any discussion? No discussion, all in favor? All your variance has been approved. When is your cutover date?
We will
I say, actually, today, they're out working on what we call the D brand. So they're covering up the, Exxon imaging and, you know, so like the signs now have a bag on top of them that say Texaco, so they've actually,
So what
as
kind of
they-
gas do you get if you fill up?
well, you get Texaco now. Yeah.
So what you're telling me is I can cut up my Exxon credit card?
Don't do that just yet, cause I don't know how they're gonna handle, I know there's something in place to handle, like, if you belong to the points program and that kind of stuff, they're gonna work on something that, you know, lets you use that stuff.
No.
Because, yeah, they don't wanna leave anybody hanging out to dry that had been a loyal customer, so. But no, we're excited to bring the Texaco brand.
I'm a little disappointed because your discounts on your Exxon are a lot greater than what you can
Okay.
get from Texaco.
Mr. Chairman, can I make a motion that we adjourn?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?